Fight the Power is an exciting new graphic novel that presents a visual history of key protest movements over the last 200 years, up to today's Occupy movements. Various artists have contributed, including Emerson, John Spelling, Sean Michael Wilson, Polyp, Benjamin Dickson and Adam Pasion. But now over to Benjamin and Sean to tell us more about their vision of the book.
Sean and I had been talking on Skype on a pretty regular basis for about a year when Sean came to me with the idea for Fight the Power. I think one of the primary motivating factors for me in wanting to write Fight the Power was the Occupy movement, or perhaps more specifically the way it was being reported in the media. I was basically getting very, very frustrated with the way it was being talked about, as if the media was entirely unaware that there had ever been any protest movement in history before. And I was just generally getting a bit annoyed because so much of our history has been shaped by protest movements. So many advances that we've made have been brought to the table from the ground up rather than from the top down, and often at very great personal sacrifice. And I just really wanted to say that.
Initially, the idea for the Fight the Power book came to me in early 2011 as a parody of the history series by Winston Churchill, which was called A History of the English-Speaking People. Now, that volume was criticised by various writers as Churchill just focusing on fighting, battles, great leaders, etc. Of course. So the idea occurred to me, well, perhaps it could be interesting to do a book focused on the people's struggle against oppressive powers. So it occurred to me as a joke that we could maybe call that a parody version of Winston Churchill's title and call it a visual history of protest amongst the English-speaking peoples. So I just laughed when I said that to myself, and then a moment later I thought, oh, actually, that could be good. The next thing I thought was that it would be nice perhaps to work on this together with Benjamin, whose writing that I admired. So I asked him, would he like to come in and co-write this with me? Now, Ben's first contribution, of course, was to come up with the more punchy title, Fight the Power, which I immediately thought, yes, that's good, and that's better.
When we chose the protest movements that we wanted to cover, it was really done on a basis of what can't we afford to lose, rather than what do we actually want to include. So movements like the miners' strike didn't make the grade, but that's unfortunately the way it is. But of course the point is not really to do everything. The point is to give a flavour, and hopefully people will go on after reading this book to investigate these protest movements in greater detail, and hopefully discover the other protest movements that took place.
So Ben and I both went off and did our research, brought our ideas together, and individually wrote the script for each of these chapters, 7 each. And once we had written it, we presented the script to the other person, who then made some small changes in order to improve this or maybe get some point right. But it was only small changes. It was only really on the introduction and the conclusion that we had to really significantly bash things out together.
I think what I would like this book to be ultimately is a starting point, because we only have 10 pages per protest movement in the book. Now, we could easily have filled an entire graphic novel, 150 pages, on any of these protest movements. So really what we're presenting is a flavour. We're presenting the basic facts of what happened in each of these protest movements in order to give you an overall view of protest movements throughout history, where they compare what was successful, what wasn't, and hopefully you can take those elements and then carry them forward into movements that may occur in the future.
The last thing to say, perhaps, is that while researching and writing this book, we've both learned a lot about the various historical periods covered and the ongoing struggle against inequality, exploitation, and abusive economic systems. It's a great thing to be able to combine your love of comic books with a chance to learn yourself about these various things and then to express that in your chosen art form. So I'm very happy that we've managed to put this book together.
There comes a time when enough is enough. Afro-Caribbeans, Asians, together it's tough. Our defense is on attack, minds are made up, bodies are fighting back. Self-defense is no offense already. Ready for a collision with the opposition. It won't be a suicide mission. And